Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of the Kingdom Mindset Podcast. My name's Otto Alvarez, and today I want to talk to you about a topic that not a lot of people talk about. I don't hear a lot about on YouTube, and that's why I'm making this podcast episode. So I hear a lot of Christians when they pray and when they talk to God, they say, God, why don't you give me more? Why can't I have a bigger house? Why can't I have a better car? Why can't I have a better job? And it's not that he doesn't want us to have more. That's not the problem. We're going to talk about the problem in this podcast. All right. So what I want to talk about is the idea, or the terminology is called stewardship. Okay. To be a good steward, that means that you're given something of value, taking care of something that someone has lent you or let you borrow or let you have for a short period of time. Okay. I remember when we were struggling financially, my wife and I were newly married, and we complained a lot about the house that we lived in. It was today's standards, it was a nice house. It was an older home. I don't know how many square feet it was. It wasn't that big. It was 2-story. It was falling apart. There was a lot of issues with it. And I remember me and my wife were complaining about, how we wanted to live in a better neighborhood, how we wanted to have a better home. And I remember we went to prayer. We went in prayer and asked God. I remember us, praying together specifically for a better home. And you know what the Holy Spirit told us? You'll never guess. He told us, how can I give you a better home if you don't take care of the one you already have? And I think that's something that is key and vital to unlocking the mystery of why God doesn't allow us to have better things in life. Okay, I remember in a huge seminar that me and my wife went to a long time ago, the pastor who was preaching at the time, one of the first things he said was, hey, if you go into your closet, is your closet going to be clean or is it going to be messy? Is there going to be order or disorder? Okay. And I don't know about you, but I know that God is a God of order. He loves when we put things in order, when we take care of property He's given us. And that's what this episode is all about. That's what this kingdom culture is all about. It's about realizing that nothing really belongs to us. Everything is given to us, or God allows us to manage what He's given us. That paycheck that we get every month is a blessing from God, and He allows us to manage that money. What do we do with that money? Do we blow it on things that make us feel good and things we'll never see again? Or do you manage it? Are you a good steward of it? Do you have a budget? Do you track where your income and your expenses go and come out from? Those are the things that I'm talking about when we talk about being a good steward, okay? Does God care how we manage? Of course He does, because management covers all aspects of your life, not just money, okay? We hear it in the Bible all the time with the story of the talents, where the owner trusts the individual workers with a sum of money, and every worker does something different with that sum of money. And I believe that God wants us to be good stewards. And if we can't recognize, what we have in our hands today as a blessing, and if we can't recognize how to put things in order, not only financially, but spiritually, in our family, in all aspects of our life, how do we expect God to give us more? It's just common sense, right? So good management, what does that tell God? Good management means that we're trustworthy, okay? He can trust us with what we call real treasure, real value, right? Being trustworthy is something that I've always strived to accomplish, not only with my boss or my employees or my family, but with God. Being trustworthy enough for God to say, you know what, Otto, I'll let you manage this new house, or I'll let you manage this new job, or this new project or opportunity. And to me, it's one of those things that I strive to become better at all the time. And, we struggle. It's not something that you can just be perfect at from one day to the next, right? So management also reveals, or will show you, order in your life. God is a God of order. There's no disorder. If I was hiring for a position and I was a boss and I was interviewing employees, I wouldn't really look at their resume. I mean, I would glance at it, but I look at character. I look at, how do they hold themselves? How do they, are they respectful? I think one of the tests that I would put forth is, let me go cancel the interview. Let's go look at your car. Is your car clean or is it a mess? And I think a lot of times we hear preachers, pastors say, your spiritual life is revealed in your physical life. Okay, the order in our physical life. If we live in a house that's full of mess and full of dirt, that kind of reveals the nature of our spiritual self or our heart. Okay, so we have to become people who can be trusted with things in our lives. And if you want a new car, are you taking care of the one you have? Are you changing the oil? Are you getting it serviced? Are you getting it cleaned? Are you washing it? There's things that need to happen to show God and to reveal to God that you're trustworthy. You're able to be given more. Okay. So I ask you, how well are you managing everything that God has given you today? I want you to take time to reflect. What am I doing that I could be doing better in the areas of your finance? Do you have a budget? Are you spending more than you make? Are you in debt? Do you have a plan to get out of debt? Finances is one thing, but look at your household, your family, the leader and the spiritual leader of your household. Do you pray for your family? Do you wake up? Do you read the Bible? Do you pray for everyone in your family? I believe a father's prayer is tremendously powerful in the spirit realm and just powerful in general. And I believe that our responsibility as husbands and as fathers is to pray for each one of our children, to pray for their day, for their future, for their tomorrow, for the people that they're going to become someday. I strive and I pray for righteousness for my family so that they can always do the right thing and that they'll always have favor with the Lord. So let's talk about some examples of bad management, okay? So finances are a mess. They have no purpose. That's just bad management. If you make X amount of dollars a month, how is God going to help you to increase that if you cannot manage what you make today? Okay? Get a budget together. Get out of debt. Create a plan of what you're going to spend and what you're going to save. Get in order. Those are the things that need to happen to be financially responsible. Okay? How does your closet look? Your house, your car, everything you own. If it's a mess, that means it's time to start putting things in order. That means it's time to start getting things in order so that God can start blessing the things that you want in life and the things that you hope to have one day. Are you good with time? Are you bad with time? Are you a bad manager of time and the time that He's given us? So we need to reflect on, are we doing things that need to be done? Okay. Complacency. Do you settle for the average? Do you sit back? Do you not go above and beyond? I believe that faith plays a huge part in accomplishing things that we need to accomplish for the kingdom. And if we have complacency, that means we lack faith. That means we lack the belief in ourselves to do what we were called to do. So are we bad at communication? Sometimes I was very bad at this when we first got married, and I feel like I still struggle with it today. Communicating your heart or your needs to other people. Are you bad at communicating? Something that you need to be better at as a manager and as a steward for God and His kingdom. Are you always wanting to control everything? Okay, sometimes we can't control the outcomes in life. We just have to do what our responsibility is and let God handle the rest. Now let's look at some examples of good management. In order to start being a good manager, I highly believe that you need to be thankful for what you've already been given. Just like in the story I was telling you about my wife and I when we first got married, we were frustrated with our house, but then when God told us we needed to take care of it better, both of our hearts started changing to more of a thankfulness for what He's given us. I remember my wife, she went to go buy tons of stuff from the store to decorate it, to put blinds, to put curtains, to really make it a home. And I really believe that God respects that. He loves that when He sees His children putting things in order, taking care of what they've been given. And I think it's crucial to our success in our future. Are you partnering with God in everything? Being a good manager or steward is partnering with God and Him being a part of your decision making. The check that you make every month, do you tithe? Do you give offerings? Are you asking God what to do with it? I believe that God wants to be involved in every area of our life. So if we're given the opportunity to take action or to bless someone, we should ask God and invite Him and ask Him, where do we spend this money? Where do we put this money? What does our future look like, God? What does our house look like with you in the picture? And I believe that is examples of great management. Great management also requires great planning and creating plans for everything. My wife, she's amazing at this. She creates plans for the kids' lunch, the kids' school, the family events, the outings, and she does everything well in advance. And I struggle with planning and figuring out how to create plans and that sort of thing. But I believe that you should have a great plan for your family. You shouldn't live day to day. I feel like day to day living is just something that's going to cause destruction and frustration in your life at some point. Plan for tomorrow, not only financially, but what do you see yourself and your family in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years? Create a plan. I believe you should have a family plan, a financial plan, a career plan, a kingdom plan, a spiritual plan. I believe that you should have a plan that you think about for years to come about what you want to do and what you want to accomplish for the kingdom. A good example of management is also a good problem solver, someone who can sit down, think about a problem, figure out a solution, or provide several solutions, and that's something that a good manager can do. Also, a good manager is great at delegating, okay? Seeing the weaknesses that he has as a manager and maybe finding someone else who can delegate. The example, my wife is a better planner than me, so I lean on her to help me and our family become, plan and do what we need to do in that aspect. In Matthew 25:14, it says, "For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them." What are those goods? "And to each one he gave 5 talents, 2 to another, and 1 to another, each according to his own ability to manage." Okay, that's very key. We talk about the tenants, and they were assigned the measure of talents according to their ability to manage that amount of money. Okay, I think that's huge, and I think that we need to understand that if we want to have more in life, we need to learn how to manage and take care of what we have. Okay, to the one who had received 5 talents, he went and traded and made another 5 talents. Likewise, he who gained 2 talents also gained 2 more by investing. But the one that received 1 talent dug it in the ground and hid his money. The verse says, hid his Lord's money, okay? The money belongs to God, okay? He's letting you manage it. He's letting you steward it. What are you doing with it? After a long time, the Lord of these servants came and settled his accounts with them. So he had received 5 talents, came and brought 5 talents, saying, Lord, you have delivered me 5 talents. Look, I've gained 5 talents more for you. His Lord said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. Okay, this is the only place where it says this, and it's talking about money. The people who will hear that the people were good stewards with the Lord's money. Well done, good and faithful servant, but steward. You are faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Okay, if we want to have many things in life, we need to learn how to take care of the little that we have today. I'm going to say that over and over again. He also who had received 2 talents came and said to the Lord, Lord, you delivered me 2 talents. Look, I've given you 2 talents beside them. His Lord said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. So it's not about the quantity. The person with 2 talents only gained 2 more, and that's fine. He said, but you multiplied it. You invested it. You knew what to do with it. Well done, good and faithful servant. Now let's look at the person with 1 talent. Then he who had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew you were a hard man, reaping where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid. Listen to that. I was afraid. Fear is what keeps us from multiplying money. Okay. I was afraid, and I went and I hid your talent in the ground. The Lord answered him and said, "You wicked and lazy servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have not gathered seed, so you ought to have deposited my money with the bankers," people who know how to manage it. God saying, or not God, but the Lord, this Lord or master is saying, you knew that I wanted a multiply or a return on my investment. If you didn't know what to do with it, you should have given it to someone who knows what to do with that. And a lot of times God does that. He'll give it to someone who knows how to manage it. And at my coming, I would have received back my own interest. At least he would have gotten interest if he would have put it in the bank. So take the talent from him. The Lord takes the talent from him and gives it to the one who has 10 talents, because he's the one that knows how to manage it the best. For everyone who has more will be given, and he will have abundance. But for him who does not have, everything will be taken away. Okay, for a lack of management. So definition of steward is being a good manager of someone else's property. I hope that this episode gives you a little bit of insight onto how to become a better steward, why God doesn't trust us with what we feel he should trust us with, and how to start the journey to begin to become someone that God can trust. I wish you the best, and I hope this podcast helps to uncover some mystery around being a better steward in the kingdom and doing God's will for our life. Take care.